So our next presentation, we're looking at the Bonham Quay development. As John O'Regan was promising us this morning, that there really was some big jobs and decent-sized projects coming to Galway. So this is one. Talking to the PM team, they tell me it's due to start imminently, but the lads will update us on that. Unfortunately, Michael Mullen, the architect director of BDP, had to fly abroad this morning. So his colleagues, Carlos Figueira is associate architect of BDP and has worked heavily on the Bonham Quays project. So Carlos is going to give us a profile on the architectural sides of the project. He holds a degree in architecture from the University of Lisbon and worked in Portugal following graduation. He moved to Ireland, began working for BDP in 2008. Carlos, as I say, has agreed to step in at short notice to replace Michael, and we thank him sincerely for that. Thank you.
Good afternoon to you all, and thank you for the opportunity to come up here and talk a little bit about the Bonham Quay development. I'm sure you've all are all vaguely familiar with the project, but in broad terms, it's a mixed-use development in the city centre, located in the old Topaz site on the docks. When completed, it will deliver 32,000 square meters of office accommodation and 1,900 square meters of retail, restaurant and cafe space on the ground floor. But the development is much more than that, and I'll get into that in a moment. So the first question is, why Galway? It's a large city in the west of Ireland. It's ideally and strategically located. It has a strong identity, strong culture and history. It's a city bustling with life, a university city with a young and large workforce which is readily available. But apart from that, there is a real need in Galway for office accommodation, and particularly grade A office accommodation. Recent figures show vacancy rates of 5 to 6% for grade A office accommodation. And as this slide will show, most of them are actually located in the periphery of the city and very little in the city centre. So all these ingredients that the city has to offer, together with this sort of fantastic city centre location, are ideal to attract large investment. The challenge in the brief was to develop what would normally be considered as a Dublin product, let's call it that, at Galway rates, and Paul might touch on that after me, but also to make it unique to Galway. And this is where collaboration plays a big part, and it's something that we collectively as a design team sort of put a lot of effort in, and you know, it's a lot of emphasis in. To deliver a project of this scale and complexity, all involved need to work together from day one. BDP, which I work for, have been involved since feasibility as master planners, architects, services engineers, sustainability consultants, and landscape of late, and Mitchell McDermott as project managers, cost consultants, and quantity surveyors. And together, we're making sure that design, sustainability, costs, and program are aligned. And this is sort of crucial and sort of a point that we keep on sort of drawing, that these are all developed aligned. So in a project like this, the design team is vast. I mean, apart from ourselves and our client, Edward Holdings, there's a range of 50 other individuals divided in about 15 Irish companies that are involved in developing this project. So civil and structural engineers, planning consultants, landscape architects, conservation architects, archaeologists, traffic consultants, fire safety consultants, sorry, I don't want to leave anyone out, environmental consultants, property agents, ecology consultants, visual impact assessment consultants, and visualizers. So there's a lot of people to sort of coordinate towards one goal. And important to also mention that all of this always in collaboration and consultation with the city planners. So Bonham Quay, the vision for the development is that it is more than an office. It's an urban campus, a uniquely located place to work, to shop, to eat, to drink, or to simply be. A contemporary workplace that reflects the unique culture that Galway has to offer. Integration between the built environment and landscape, where they sort of merge together to create what we call the High Line for Galway, is where green spaces are provided throughout the building, from ground floor to the rooftops. In doing so, creating new public realm and community-orientated opportunities for both users and the public in general. From a master planning perspective, so that's the site there, just there, and sort of the site through the years up above. We did extensive historical research into the site and Galway to develop it, as a natural extension of its medieval city centre, given the proximity it has to it. Permeability and connections are fundamental, and these desire lines and connections that you see on the slide are help shape not only the new public space areas with its sort of squares and interconnecting streets, but also all 4 blocks that the sort of the development is. So this is a diagram showing a little bit of the evolution from the desired lines into sort of a more specific forms, and then a public realm, more finalized public realm drawing at the end, which I have sort of blown up here to try and talk about a little bit what this public realm is. So the development is 4 blocks of accommodation, and they're sort of arranged around an internal courtyard. The key spaces here are the North Plaza, which you see there above. That North Plaza has a sort of a pre-existing protected structure that sort of will have a dialogue with the modern development. Then the central courtyard, which you see there in the middle, and also the South Terrace, which is sort of a covered space facing the docks and the water. There's also sort of substantial development on the sort of west face of of the development, which is improvement in the public realm along Dock Road. These sort of spaces provide what we see as a much needed regeneration and daytime activity for this area. And that only comes with, when you establish places of work, ground floor restaurants, cafes, public open spaces, which are sized and designed to hold events, be it sort of organized events or impromptu events. And we're thinking along the lines of, markets, small performances, outdoor cinema, that sort of range of activity. Another important part of the development is what we call the town hall space. And that's that sort of space that you see in the bottom right-hand corner. That is a cultural space offer to the city as part of the development, which also has another space that will be on top of this central block here on the roof terrace, with exceptional views over the water. Sorry. So these are sort of examples of what those activities might be, and the outdoor events, what the town hall space might look like. And then we have a number of CGIs and examples sort of describing these public realm areas. So this will be the internal courtyard, another shot with the internal courtyard and one of the narrow streets that leads to it. And this is sort of an example of what we are trying to achieve in terms of landscape within that courtyard. And this is the North Plaza, which I've mentioned earlier, that sort of coexists with the protected structure that we see there on the right, which is, I think, a 19 or 20 meter wide space, so more than able to cater for a number of events. This is the South Terrace, which is a sheltered, covered terrace. So there's sort of a colonnade along this south elevation, and this is a place to sit a few steps above the road level, where you can sort of enjoy a nice sort of summer evening facing the water, and sort of provides waterside and waterfront views and engagement as well. So this is sort of a few precedents of what that might be when it's fully developed. And the CGI, which is sort of an artistic impression of what that south edge might be. Now, this, I emphasize the artistic impression because I'm sure there'll be plenty of proposals for that space, and I'm sure a lot of them probably better than that. But when you're designing, you sort of need to take a step ahead and just imagine what things could be like in order then to take a step back and develop it. What's unique about the development is its balconies, its terraces, and its roof gardens as well. All levels throughout the building have access to an external green space, and all the buildings have extensive roof gardens with spectacular sea views. The development has a 43% site coverage with 92% landscape areas when we take all the green areas into account. And just to give you an idea of what that means, that's about 2/3 of Croke Park. So it's a vast sort of green area. So again, just some examples of what the integration of the built and the landscape might be like, and the rooftop gardens. and this is a space between the 4 blocks. There's sort of bridge connections between the blocks that will be sort of planted and also act as external fire escapes. But at the same time, they're informal meeting spaces with vertical planting to provide shelter, but you'd also have sort of views across the docks from those spaces. The blocks themselves, so there's 4 blocks that range in different sizes, as you can see there, A, B, C, and D. The blocks are designed to BCO guidelines to an efficient 1.5 meter planning grid where every person is never any more than 15 meters away from a window. The blocks range from 6 to 7 floors above ground and above basement. And their sizes vary and are designed to accommodate different needs in tenancy, be it indigenous or FDI tenants. The cores of each of the buildings have been centrally located on the plan to maximize the perimeter and adding flexibility for future fit-outs. They're also orientated towards the sea and towards the water, so as you come out at those lift lobbies, you always have a glimpse of the water on any floor or on any sort of building. In terms of materiality, so that's sort of an idea of how flexible these office spaces can be with a centrally located core and as an open plan space. In terms of materiality, the structure is a reinforced concrete structure with post-tension floor slabs. The material palette for the whole development is very simple. There's roughly 4 materials: glass, metal, stone, and a very important 4th one, which is the planting and the greenery that sort of is throughout the whole building. It's a contemporary office building with its glass facades, but it also sort of includes metal paneling, and that is a reference to the site's industrial heritage. So you can see that integrated with the glass, there's also sort of metal paneling reflecting that industrial heritage of the site. Natural stone is used in the podium level, the ground floor, and the idea there is sort of to ground the building using the similar type paving that you see throughout the city centre. Vertical and horizontal fins are also integrated in the facade, and these are incorporated at sort of different sizes and intensities and depths as well, and these are designed to sort of obviously create variety in the elevation, but to address aspects and to manage the solar gain and reduce energy use in the building. There you go, better example of it. The basement, for the basement we propose a very innovative commuter centre with showers, drying facilities, and 330 cycle parking spaces. And there's an additional 52 at podium and 131 car parking spaces. Sustainability. This building has been designed as a highly sustainable, sort of low energy development. It's designed to achieve LEED Gold, the WELL Building Standard Gold rating as well, and it's also designed to be an A-rated building. It's being designed to NZEB standard and Part L 2017, 2 years before the introduction of that standard. again, to achieve these sort of energy efficiency goals, collaboration is, again, paramount and incredibly important that the whole design team contributes for that to happen. Air source heat pumps are being used to take advantage of the free air transfer and remove the need for gas boilers and the local pollution that would result from that. Again, through design team collaboration, we're able to achieve a 30% reduction in photovoltaic panels on the roof for NZEB compliance. I won't go into too much detail regarding NZEB. There's another speaker after us that has that expertise. But as a conclusion, I suppose we're hard at work at the moment on the detailed design of this building, and the project is due to start on site shortly. It's a very exciting project to be involved with and to be working on, and we're very confident that it will bring new opportunities and regeneration to the docks in Galway. I'll pass you on to Paul now. Thank you very much.